All right. So, talking about the environment, it is the surrounding wherein the organism lives. Now, when we talk about the environment, so we have the term ecosystem. Now, see, ecosystem is again just like the environment only. It is ecosystem is the place where an organism lives, and the living component interacts with the non-living components together in any particular area. Now, the ecosystem, like you people know about deserts, right? Desert are those areas that have a scarcity of water, but still in that also there are many organisms that live. Camels, isn't it? Camels are found. Even if you talk about polar areas, like where the polar bears and all of those organisms live, right? So even that is so extreme, but still the organisms are found there. So depending upon which area we are talking about, there are different kinds of ecosystem. And remember that the ecosystem, they have the both, like you can say the biotic component, meaning the living component, as well as the abiotic component, which is the non-living component. And both of these two components, meaning abiotic and biotic, they interact with each other. So that is what we call as the ecosystem. Okay, this much is clear to you all?
Yes, yes.
Okay, good. Now let us see what are those biotic factors. So as I told you, like biotic factors will be the living factors. So the example of the biotic factors are all the living organisms like plants, animals, fungus, microscopic like bacteria, all of these structures, or you can say these factors, they are the biotic factors. Okay. So what happens over here is that all the living organisms like plants, animals, fungus, they belong to the biotic factors. Biotic means living factors. Then comes the abiotic factors. Now abiotic, like I told you, it is the non-living component of the ecosystem. So now we can like you can say add all of these components such as sunlight, temperature, water, rainfall, soil, the sun, right? The minerals and everything that is non-living but is essential. They would come under the abiotic factor. Clear, students? Any doubts up until now? These are the examples of the biotic factors as well as the abiotic factors. Okay.
Yes, yes.
Now, see, like I told you that depending upon the, or you can say organism, or depending upon the climatic factors, depending upon the soil of that area, the annual rainfall, like how much rainfall is happening. So there are so many different kinds of ecosystem, right? There is like a forest ecosystem, pond ecosystem, grassland ecosystem. We also have the desert ecosystem. There are so many different types of ecosystems that are present. Now, out of all of the ecosystem, forest, pond, and grassland, these are the natural ecosystems. Natural means we do not create it. We like these kind of ecosystems, they do not have the interference of human beings at all. None of the interference is there. But if you talk about aquarium, right? Aquarium, like many people have aquarium in their houses. So aquarium is the ecosystem only wherein you make it, right? You take a glass bowl or a vessel or whatever it is, and in that you add pebbles, water, some aquatic plants, and then you add different kinds of fishes. So it is the ecosystem that you are making. So that is what we call as the artificial or the man-made ecosystem. Same goes for the crop field, the field that is used for vegetation or agriculture. That crop field is also a man-made thing. Okay, it is also a man-made ecosystem because in that also there are many, you can say insects, grasshoppers, there are many organisms that live there. And then we have the soil, which is the abiotic component, but man has made it. It has been made artificially, so that is an artificial ecosystem. So these are the examples of natural and artificial ecosystem. Now, apart from that, we can also add desert into it. Desert is also the example of the, you can say, natural ecosystem. Now talking about the ecosystem, we have discussed the abiotic factors. Now we are going to categorize the biotic factors of the ecosystem. Like we have producers, consumers, and decomposers. Now this whole entire division is according to what the organism do in the ecosystem. Meaning if we talk about the plants, what is the function of plants? Can you tell me? What is the function of plants?
Give oxygen.
Yes, you are right. They give oxygen, right? They perform photosynthesis, isn't it? So,
Yes.
yeah. So, see, plants are the only organisms that can make their own food, isn't it? They are the only ones, right? With the use of sunlight, water, chlorophyll molecule, these are the only organisms that can make their own food. So, since they are the ones that can make their own food, plants are called as producers. Okay, they are the producer of energy, producers of oxygen, and the producer of food for every organism on the earth. Then comes consumers. Now the name only suggests they will consume stuff. They will eat stuff because they cannot make their own food. So they depend on plants directly or indirectly. Further, the consumers have been divided into primary consumer, secondary consumer, and tertiary consumer. Okay, now see, primary consumer is the one that directly feeds on the plant, like all the herbivore organisms. Give me one example of a herbivore organism.
Cow.
Cow, goat, right? So these organisms, they directly eat the plants, right? So they are primary consumers. But secondary consumers are those consumers that eat the primary consumer. For example, like us, right? We eat I'm saying goat meat, right? So we eat the organism that eats the plant. So we are secondary consumers. We eat the primary consumers. Okay, we can come under this, and then there are many or other animals also that come under the secondary consumer. Now the tertiary consumer. These are the consumers that feed on the secondary consumer. Okay. And tertiary consumers are those consumers that are not eaten by any other organs. Getting my point? So
Yes.
talking about, So talking about the example of this. So we say plants. Plant is a producer, right? Because it synthesizes the food, it synthesizes the oxygen. So we'd say the plants are producer. They are autotrophic. Then grasshoppers are those insects that eat the plant. So the grasshopper, what will it be? Will it be primary consumer or secondary consumer?
Uh, Secondary.
How?
No, primary. Primary.
Primary. Yes, because it is directly eating the plant. Okay, so all those organisms that directly eat the plant, we call them as primary consumer. Then there are small birds that eat the grasshopper. So now the small birds become the secondary consumer because they are eating the primary consumer. Then the bigger bird, or you can say the eagle, the vulture, they eat the smaller bird. So they become the tertiary consumer. So this is how the different kinds of consumers are there. And remember that producer, consumer, and decomposers, these are the components of the biotic factor, meaning these are the living components of the ecosystem. Any doubts up until now, students? You
No,
understand whatever I've said till now? Okay, now you can note down till here, then we'll move forward.
Miss, so omnivores, they come under primary no.
Omnivores are what?
They eat both plants and
Hmm.
animals.
So what do you think? Where will they come?
So they are both primary and secondary.
When they are directly feeding on the plants, then that time they are primary consumers. But if they are feeding on the primary consumer, then that makes them secondary. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now you can note it down.
This you can scroll. Miss, you can scroll. Miss, can you scroll a bit more? Yes, Miss, you can scroll. Miss, you can scroll. Miss, you can scroll.
Done, students? Alvina,
Mm.
why are you late today?
Ma'am, actually, I was having my exam, the weekly test,
Okay, right now?
like
Like during the class hours?
like a little half an hour back.
Okay, okay. All right. Okay, so now moving forward, we were discussing about the different components or the living components of the ecosystem. So let us talk in depth about the producers. Like I told you that producers are those organisms that can make their own food, right? That is why they are named as producers. So all the green plants, the blue-green algae, they can make their own food from inorganic substances, right? They can use carbon dioxide, they use water, and they use the light energy from the sun to make their own food, right? So we call them as producers. Now, since they make their own food, they are known as producers, and you can also call them as autotrophic. Auto means self, trophic means nutrition. Okay, the word auto means cell and the word trophic means nutrition. So these are the organisms that make their own food. So we call them as the autotrophic organisms. Now, this is like, for example, if we talk about the plants, we always think about the land, isn't it? Trees, grasses, small plants, and all. But even in the aquatic ecosystem, meaning even in the water, there are certain planktons and they are the producers or the autotrophs in the aquatic ecosystem. Okay, planktons, they are of two types. Phytoplanktons, which are the plant, you can say the microscopic plant, and zooplanktons, these are the microscopic animals that are found in the water or the aquatic ecosystem. So in case of aquatic ecosystem, planktons are the producers or the autotrophs. Now the planktons, they are of two types, phytoplanktons and zooplanktons. The word phyto means plants. So the microscopic aquatic plants that freely float on the surface of water, we call them as phytoplanktons. So they make their own food in the water. Zooplankton, these are the microscopic animals and they freely float on the surface of water, such as protozoa. Is it clear? Producers is clear to you all, students? Yes or no?
Yes, but
Okay. All right. So you can note it down.
it's done.
Done, student?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Okay, so we'll keep it till here only for today's class, and we'll continue in the next class. Okay.
Yes, right. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, Hanan. How are you?
I'm fine, ma'am. How are you?
I am also good. So this is like a sort of like a Viva session for the fundamental unit of life chapter. Okay?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I already know that you are prepared with the chapter, isn't it?
Yes,
Hmm? The yes didn't sound so confident.
yes, sir.
All right, okay. Let me just. Okay, switch on your video. Okay. I cannot see you. I can only see the walls behind you. All right. Okay, so tell me, who gave the cell theory, Hannah?
But
Who gave the cell theory?
I didn't hear, ma'am.
The question is, who gave the cell theory? Tell me.
Um,
Hmm?
hello?
Yes, am I audible?
Ah, yes.
My question was, who gave the cell theory?
Cell theory, Robert Hooke.
No. Cell theory, not the one who discovered the cell. Tell me who gave the cell theory.
Lianwa?
Hmm?
Lianwa?
Clyden and Spawn. Okay.
Oh,
Tell me, is the cell theory applicable to all the organisms? Hmm?
no.
No. To which organism is the cell theory not applicable?
Viruses.
Very good. Viruses. Exactly. Okay. Now, why? Why is it not applicable to viruses?
Because viruses take the body of a host. They do not have a life on their own.
Very good. Exactly. All right. Now, tell me, what is the membrane of vacuole called as?
Membrane of tonoplast.
Tonoplast. Okay. Now, tell me, in the cell theory, there was another person who added the third point. What was the third point? Like there was one person who added another point to tell us the origin of the cell. So what was that point and who was the person?
New cells come from dead cells.
Huh?
Pre-existing
No,
cells.
pre-existing cells.
Yes,
Yes.
this is very pre-existing.
And who gave this line?
Leonwa?
No, this thing,
Ah,
Rudolf Virchow.
okay.
What did Leeuwenhoek do? Hmm? What did the like Anton von Leeuwenhoek do? Tell me. No idea. He discovered the first living cell.
Uh,
Okay, tell me, why are mitochondria and chloroplast called as semi-autonomous organs?
because they have their own DNA, RNA, and
They have their own DNA
ribosomes.
and they have their own DNA and ribosomes. Okay. Which kind of ribosomes are present in them?
In what?
What kind of ribosomes are present in the mitochondria and chloroplast?
Like eukaryote?
No, 70S ribosomes. Okay.
80 is
80S is present in eukaryotes. 70S is present in prokaryotes. But mitochondria and chloroplast, they have 70S ribosomes. Okay.
yes, ma'am.
What are the two types of cell division?
Meiosis and mitosis.
Very good. Which one out of them is called as equational division? Which one is the,
Equational.
yeah, equational division?
Mitosis.
Why?
Because the chromosomes are equally distributed to the daughter cells.
Exactly. And okay, what happens like after meiosis is completed, how many daughter cells are formed?
For
Hmm?
for
4, correct. And what is the, like, are the daughter cells haploid or are they diploid?
haploid.
Haploid. Very good. Okay. Meiosis is used for what? Like, what is the significance of meiosis or what is the use of meiosis?
It's like a cell division where the gametes are formed.
Correct. Very good. It's for gamete formation. All right. Okay, tell me the endoplasmic reticulum that has ribosome present on it. What do we call it?
Rough endoplasmic.
Rough endoplasmic reticulum. What is the function of ribosome?
They make proteins.
Okay, very good. Very nice. All right. See, you are able to answer the tougher questions better, and when I'm asking you the most easiest questions, you get stuck on that. Why so? I asked you who gave the cell theory, and you told me Robert Hooke. And I'm asking you about mitosis, meiosis. You're giving me all correct answers. Why?
Not good with names and dates.
But you have to be good with names, dear, or else how
Yes,
would you write
yes.
it?
I'll focus on that one.
Okay. Okay, your concept is clear. I can see that, but it's just that there are some tiny little things that you need to focus on. Okay, always go like easy things should be clear first. Then only you should jump on to the difficult ones, right? Okay, very good. You've answered nicely. All right. Okay, now